That's a big question. And October, of course, is a good time to explore that question because one of the main things you look for is any evidence of life beyond the physical. An area you look into for that would be, the area that Brendan Cook and Barbara Macbeth look into. Brendan Cook and Barbara Macbeth are both members of the Ghost Investigators Society, GIS. The Ghost Investigators Society, and this is important, is a non-profit organization. That's right, they don't make money, dedicated to the investigation of ghosts. Not only do they conduct investigations, but they also instruct, assist, and educate anyone who believes that they may be experiencing ghostly phenomena, or those who are just simply curious. In an effort to educate the public about ghosts, the GIS hopes that the EVPs, or electronic voice phenomena, that you're about to hear, will help demonstrate that the consciousness, our consciousness, does survive after the body dies. And that these voices may help to give a different perspective about life, death, and ghosts. First of all, welcome back to the program, you two. Thank you, Art. Good morning, Art. Yes, good morning. I can hear you both clearly. That's a good thing. All right. Great to have you back. How long has it been since we did a program together? Oh, it was a little too long. I think it was November of last year. Yeah, a long time. They did do earlier in the week, I think George did a program with, believe it or not, another couple. Y'all that do EVP must come in couples or something. Anyway, it does not matter. I think this subject is so important and so worthy of our attention, or the attention of those who are trying to figure out what the real truth is, that it's worth doing even more frequently than that. That's how I feel about it. I don't know about you. What launched you guys into this anyway? To me, it's what the heck happens to us after we die? If anything, does something really happen? Do we survive physical death? That's what took me into it. What's about y'all? Well, it's a subject that I've been interested in all my life, but we have gotten so many responses from people that have just gone out and tried this on their own, which you can do, folks. And the response has been incredible. People contacting us and emailing us. Yeah, anybody can do it if they can prove it to themselves. Yeah, and that's usually how. There are a lot of people that have interest in it, but they don't want to investigate it or research it at all. And depending on your curiosity level, I guess, depends on whether you're willing to go out there and try to find out on your own. I think people should go out, and I must tell you, I've had thousands of emails on this topic because we've suggested, of course, in previous programs, that people do exactly that they go out and find for themselves. And I really am all for that, because if you can demonstrate it yourself, then you got to sit down and scratch your head and say, hey, maybe that's really not a bunch of circus bull. Maybe there's really something to it. And if there is, what does it mean? Well, hey, if it's real, it means we do survive death. But oh my, in what manner? Yes, it opens the door to many questions. You're not a profit organization, right? That's correct. All right. Now, this can be done with either a standard cassette tape recorder, or I think more recently, you have moved into the digital realm, right? What doesn't have? Barbara's still fighting the whole digital thing. Oh, you like your tape recorder? Oh, we have a GIS schism. So, Barbara, you're still using the tape recorder? Oh, yeah. I like to have the tape. I see. While women moved into the digital age? Yeah, a couple of, three of the members have. All right, let's get the equipment part down. What kind of tape are you using? Please, people want to know. It's the Iowa cassette mini cassette tape recorder. And it has an external mic. And it also has a counter so that there's a reference
in reference where you hear a voice.
Standard cassette recorder.
That's correct. I use brand new tapes every time we go to a location or reuse a tape.
Pull the cellophane off the sucker and never reuse it because of course you might get something that was somehow on there. So okay, and that's how you do it. Now, Brennan, what have you used?
Well, really, right now we're using it. We're actually using a couple of different digital recorders. One is an Iowa digital recorder, and I can't remember exactly what the model number is. If you go to our website, we list all the equipment that we have and the models and all that, so people can go out and actually use the same stuff.
Okay. And you use an external mic also?
Yeah, we do. And actually, I found that it turns out clear. I mean, the quality of the voice actually seems to be clear when you do use an external mic, and especially, we really use the recorders for two purposes. One, to document the entire investigation, and the other, obviously, to record EVPs.
Well, I remember back when we were urging you to try digital, you seemed to have the feeling that it would not manifest as easily on digital for some reason as tape, something like the magnetic heads or whatever.
Yeah.
So that turned out, would you still say not to be true, or what?
Well, it's definitely, the theory is that we have that, and definitely it can't be true, because obviously we are getting voices on these digital recorders
As frequently?
and actually, yeah, I would say as frequently.
Well, then, Barbara, what are you waiting for?
Yeah, the old lady,
These are showing up either on tape or on digital. It doesn't matter, they're showing up anyway, right?
And actually, I think that's a really interesting point about this whole phenomenon. There's times where I will be standing right next to Barbara, me using a digital recorder and her using an analog tape recorder. And sometimes I will get a voice and she won't, and I'm no more than 5 feet away from her. Or it's the opposite. She will pick up a voice and I won't. Or other times we both get voices. The phenomenon varies so much.
How many times do you get voices?
It's pretty frequent. I mean, I would say that the majority of times when something's picked up, it's picked up by the recorders that are close at hand, because we have, like Jenny, one of our other members, she'll carry around the digital and also a regular mini cassette recorder.
So she's in transition.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to replace my recorder. Probably has about 1 million miles on it now, and it's starting to not be reliable. So I'm gonna have to try to find me another one, and it's getting hard to find me.
And you all hang out in places like the prisons and graveyards and funeral directors' homes and places, church little places like that, right? Well, here's where I want to ask you about something. It is, you want to be this. While they're on hospital, it's not necessarily more likely that you can get them anywhere, and yet you also gravitate towards these graveyards and things, right?
Yes, it's very easy access. Probably our hardest obstacle is getting permission to get in to a location.
All right, well then let us begin the, I can just say the entertainment, but I guess that's what it is in a way. It's just kind of hear this to folks, so you're about to hear it. The first group that we're going to hear from, I guess, is in a funeral director's home. Is that correct, or is it just one?
That's correct. It's actually the same funeral director's home.
Okay.
I believe it's the next 8 tracks you're going to hear from Sharon's house. And I don't know if you'll recall, I'm sure some of your listeners will, probably about a year ago, we actually did the first investigation in this man's home. And this is the home that I had the experience with the young boy in the mirror running behind me, and his head was
I mean, it was in such an unnatural position.
That's correct. I mean, it did not look right. I mean, obviously it didn't look right just because there was a young boy running behind you when there was no children in the house. But on top of that, just the way he looked was so disturbing. I mean, it's something I really wouldn't want to see again.
Well, right away, I don't like that. I mean, right away, that indicates to me if you die, for example, of a broken neck, or a back that went totally haywire, or whatever, that this injury will then manifest itself on the other side as well. Wasn't in my vision of the other side at all.
Yeah, well, we asked him if, after Brendan told us what he had witnessed there, we asked him, the funeral director, if he had recently had a young boy burial there at his work that might have followed him home that had been killed from a broken neck.
And he said,
No. He said they had a lot of children that year, but he could recall having a broken neck. So,
all right. So let us go to track one. Set that up.
All right. Well, this track, and this was recorded using the digital recorder. And I recorded this in the basement of the funeral director's home. And Barbara and I were the only ones in the basement at the time. And you're going to hear Barbara say, "Will you talk to us if you're here?" And as she's saying this, she's looking through her infrared camera. And she says, "Oh, hi," because she had just seen an orb on the camera. And then she talks to me saying, "Yeah, there is something here, Brendan." And right after that, you're going to hear, sounds like kind of a younger woman saying, "Come enjoy the light."
Come enjoy the light. All right, let's see if that's what we hear. Here you go. Come enjoy the light. Clearly said, come enjoy the light. Now, did you all hear that? If not, what I do is I play these twice because I know a lot of people are straining to hear them and may not hear them the first time. Therefore, once again. Come enjoy the light. Now that's pretty interesting, isn't it? Considering that those who die, those that we get back, the near-death experience, rather than full affairs, all talk about the light.
Right, I thought that was the thing that she said.
Yes, that was not just the light, so it was enjoyable. I don't see it like clearly. Something that you could do with it. It's something how were you aware that there was?
Well, we use the infrared video cameras, and I saw this orb coming towards me and went off to the side.
Oh, you mean an orb like we see in our photographs with labs and whatnot?
And many times when we start talking to them, they'll respond to us. They'll stay right in front of the camera and kind of move us there.
They hover, huh?
Have a little bounce to them and they'll stay there. Some come up closer. Sometimes the infrared light will drown them out and you can't tell where they go. But they'll get so close to you, you can't follow them because of the infrared drowning them out.
All right, let's be clear on something. Do you think that these entities that you're encountering that are actually speaking to you, my God, it's eerie to listen to, that are actually speaking to you, do you think that These are people who have reached their final destination. Do you have any clue? All the things you listen to, how many clues do you have about the nature of the other side? Are they just trapped on Earth? Are they spending a really short vacation here before going on? What?
No, there would have to be theory, but I do not believe that they have reached their final destination. I do think that there is someplace else that we go to when we die, and I don't think that they've crossed that line yet.
You don't think so?
No. For some reason, they're still here.
Do you have anything beyond what you just said, that it's your theory? Anything from your work that says that might be so, that might be true?
There's been a few voices that have indicated that, there's been the self-realization that they're dead. There's one location that we frequent quite a bit because of the EVPs that we record there. And some of them sound like the same voices, they sound like the same spirits are there. But there was one that we recorded that she said, I'm completely dead, and we never have recorded her voice again there.
I recall that statement, which I thought was pretty darn chilling. I'm completely dead. Now, of course, you could be referring to as in the physical sense, or as in I'm at my final destination. I surely rather believe in the first.
Well, the cadence of that woman's voice when we recorded her was almost like she had a self-realization. I mean, the fact that it's almost like she just realized, well, they're looking for me.
Here's number 2.
Richard and I were still in the basement, and we were sitting, Brennan was on one couch, and I was sitting on another couch off to the side. And I'd like to hear me say, can you tell me who you are? My name is Barbara, and this is Brendan. And what's interesting about this voice, it sounds like a small child. He says, I'm 3, and then Brendan asks, how old are you?
Huh. Even prior to the question?
Prior to the question.
Prior to the question. All right, here we go.
Can you tell me who you are? My name is Barbara, and this is Brendan.
Oh man. On top of the fact that that's clearly a child's voice.
Yeah.
Clearly a child's voice. Very troubling. Really troubling. One more time. Here it is. Listen carefully.
Can you tell me who you are? My name is Barbara, and this is Brendan.
How old are you?
Do they read minds?
It makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. Do they read the minds of them? And that would clear. How many times has that ever happened to you? Question answered prior to being closed.
It's happened before, but not often.
Kevin blasts me from Ohio saying, at the beginning of your show tonight, you mentioned a possible photograph of a shadow creature. Oh, yes, I did. It's on my webcam right now. Go to the website, and then upper left-hand corner, you just click on webcam. Indeed, it was sent to me by an unidentified person who does not want to be identified in Seattle, Washington. It is clearly a shadow person from the middle of the room. Kevin says, in a recent lecture given by Stephen Hawking entitled Brain New World, I assume you'd say that brain as in our brain New World, he mentions the possibilities of shadow worlds and people. Wow. Stephen Hawking mentions shadow people. perhaps an entire shadow world. You make up your own mind, as with everything that we're presenting on this program. Digest and see what you think, but go to the website by all means and go to the top left-hand corner, click on webcam, and look at what's in the middle of the living room. Now, I wonder, just out of curiosity, you two, have you had an opportunity to take a look at that?
Yes, we have. Very intriguing, very good picture.
Yes, I've had many who have seen shadow creatures, but very few photographs, and this is a particularly good one.
Well, I mean, the actual photo almost looks like the entity is suspended from the ceiling almost.
Yeah. All right, and so it brings up the question of, what form, or perhaps many forms. I mean, these may have previously been human beings, these shadow people. They may be interdimensional creatures of some sort, those that share the world with us now. Who knows? But one thing for sure, it seems to point towards something more than we understand, something more than we can prove. Religion is all faith-based. And I mean, believing in something that really isn't. Well, I believe that we have some existence after we die, but I don't know what side. Your word seems to point toward one possibility, a shadow photograph, another. Those photographs.
Yes, that's a great photograph.
Yes. All right, well, back to what you do, recording the voices of those who may take those apparitional appearances. So number 3 here again, done in a funeral director's home. What about number 3?
Right. You're going to hear the funeral director say he's alive. And he was actually seeing light in his home. Just recently, the phenomenon that's been occurring in their home has become very visual. He's just recently got married, and his new wife has seen a small boy, and it scared her so bad that she wanted to leave. So, I mean, that bothered him.
There's also fragrance and smells. There was one night that we arrived, and they had walked out of the house because there was like a smell of boiled eggs or sulfur second smelling. It was still in the house when we walked in, but it immediately didn't smell it after about like 2 minutes after being in the house.
Well, has this unidentified mortician made any connection between what he's experiencing that's beginning to sound very serious and his work?
Yeah, he has. Definitely think that it's something that has attached itself to him. I mean, a body that he could have been working on, whether it be a child or something else. But I mean, he works with bodies constantly.
Does he consider this to be a serious downside to his employment?
Well, he's been in this business all his life. His father and grandfather were both funeral directors.
Yeah, well, I guess we don't get to this. We'll run out of show here, so let's rock. All right, here it is, number 3, and the question was, can you see the lights? And then some response by some entity, right?
That's correct. It sounds like a woman saying, "I don't know if I want to live."
I don't know if I want to live. I'm not sure about that one at all. I don't know if I hear, I don't know if I want to live. I don't know if I hear that much. Well, okay, on that one, folks. I don't know if I hear as much of it. I don't know, and then I hear live, but I don't know if I hear, I don't know if I want to live.
Yeah, I agree.
It kind of runs the words
Together.
That calls bullshit on that.
Just operating on the presumption that that is what's being said. I don't know if I want to live. Since when does she
I call
as an
bullshit on
apparition
that
have
too,
that
Art.
kind of choice?
Well, I really, and this goes back to a theory that some ghosts do not know that they've died. And I almost wonder if she does not know that she's dead. And for all she knows, she is still living. And this living that she's doing now is such hell for her because she can't communicate with anybody she loves. All these things are changing around her. She doesn't know where she's at. She doesn't know what she's doing. If she could say, I don't know if I want to live, because in her mind, she is still alive.
That's a very good point. On to number 4. Set it up.
On this one, me and Brendan were sitting in the basement of the house, and Brendan, we're in the dark, and Brendan doesn't have an infrared camera, so he's walking through this room. You're going to hear Brendan say, "What's in front of me, Barb?" And I respond and I say, "I don't think anything, Brendan." And then he interrupts and he says, "You don't think anything?" And then I say, our left of you, to the left of you. And there's a voice that comes in and says, "Leave us out there."
Leave us out there. Leave us out there. Okay, here we go.
What's in front of me, Barb? You don't think anything? What's in front of me, Barb?
No, wait a minute. Remember, folks, this is in the dark. In the dark, in a mortician's basement.
What's in front of me, Barb? You don't think anything?
That's clear. That's very clear. Leave us out there. Leave us out there. You know, is it always your impression these remarks are actually directed at you two, or could they be remarks directed at another?
Well, some of them seem like they are directed directly to what we're saying. Others seem like they're talking to somebody else.
Okay, leave us out there. I mean, that could mean, of course, so many things, but it could essentially mean let us alone. Let us alone. Leave us out there. You know, let us alone. Don't be summoning us from the other side or something like that. Who knows?
Right.
All right, number 5.
All right, in this next clip, I was upstairs with Barbara's husband, Roger, and I was asking Roger, I say, do me a favor, Raj, take a picture of that, and I was pointing towards the mirror that I had actually seen this young boy in the last time we had been at this house.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to use it for the website to actually post it so I could show people this is the mirror that I saw the young boy in.
Sure.
And I say, take a picture of that towards the mirror, but also at that, and I'm kind of pointing towards the fireplace. And then you're going to hear, and Roger and I were alone at this time, you're going to hear a younger woman say, "It's okay, come on, it's a camera on." And the very first part of this, where she says, "It's okay, come on," is very, almost fast, like she's trying to hurry something up.
Okay, let's take a listen. Yeah, I think that's quite clear. You're right. The first part of it goes quite quickly. It's okay. Come on, it's a camera, hon. Now there was no female present at all.
No, not at this time.
That would appear to be one ghost, one entity speaking then to another.
And I also can hear another, it sounds like a young little child in between her sentence.
Oh, oh, really? Let me listen again, by all means. That's a very young boy. I heard it that time. I heard it that time, yes. So that could be, I hate to be flippant, but a mother ghost talking to a child ghost.
And that's kind of what it reminded me of when I first heard that.
Huh. As you see, I'm always trying to draw, and perhaps more times than not, I'm sure incorrectly, some sort of inference about the other side or about the condition these spirits are in from what they say. And that would imply, I don't know, fun. That implies some sort of loving relationship taking place on the other side, right?
Right. I believe that you still have emotion and love and for the things that you did in life after life.
I hope so. Otherwise, we haven't really transferred our consciousness to the other side because our consciousness, at least part of it, is made up of all the emotions that we feel and experience, right?
Correct.
So it really does continue. It would have to continue with those emotions somewhat intact.
That's correct.
That's all right. Number 6.
In this clip, you're going to hear Brendan. He was up in the funeral director's son's room. And you're going to hear Brendan say, is anyone in here? And we believe that this voice responding says, not alive.
Here you go.
Anyone in here?
I absolutely agree. That man is saying not alive. Is anyone in here? Not alive. And it's responded to in that way. And that's in that sense, as if we're answering, yeah, we're here, but maybe we're not alive. Listen.
Anyone in here?
I can just about picture somebody in an 18-wheeler hanging about 75 miles an hour down one of the freeways here in the West, listening to this and totally creeping out in the middle of the night. Now, not a lot. That seemed to be an answer. We were talking about that a minute ago. He seemed to be responding directly to you, didn't he?
Yeah, there's that, and also, I mean, no time, he's almost got personality in his answer.
Exactly.
I mean, it's almost very sarcastic.
Exactly. We're here, but it's not alive.
Exactly.
By the way, I know you all are brave and all that stuff, but I wouldn't go into a mortician's house where strange things have been flying around and lights are scooting around and voices are going on and you're in his basement in the dark. Good Lord.
It really is not scary at the time.
How could that not be scary?
Well, I mean, when we do this, we have such a mindset that these are people. I mean, you can't look at them as, what Hollywood wants you to believe, because that's just simply not the way they are. They're people that have lived and died, they've had a body, and they have the exact same personality they have in life. I mean, the majority of people you see in life are not mean. I mean, most of them are very nice.
All right, let me try this one out on you. A lot of people who die as older people die as grouchy old,
Right, and we come up against them.
And then if a child were to die, a child would, if you retain all your faculties and emotions and everything that is consciousness, a child would still be curious about everything in the world and be like a child is in death even, right?
Correct.
And that's what you find?
Yes.
A lot of the times, yes.
I recorded a child's voice one time. I was fooling with my tape recorder, and I recorded a little child say, "Can you talk with it?"
Meaning, the meaning of that you think would be, could you talk to us with that?
I believe that he was wanting to know if I could talk with this thing that I was holding in my hand.
Right, number 7.
All right, well, on this one, you're gonna hear the mortician, he was describing to us one of the events that he had happened in this house.
Right.
And he was pointing over towards his sofa in the basement, and he was saying there was a yellow spark. And apparently he had seen a yellow spark come up behind the sofa.
Yeah.
This cut always makes me laugh when I hear this, because the response is so off the wall. Nobody had said anything
And
when this happened. And you're just going to hear a man's voice go,
really, all right, here we go. Think about that after we do it. Well, no, I'll tell you now. It seems to me we're hearing from the entity who was responsible for the spark with kind of a like, yeah, baby, it was me. I mean, here, listen. That's the way I take it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah, I wonder who did that. Do you think these entities are, to that degree, retaining their, I don't know, sense of humor, or
They definitely have a great sense of humor.
maybe have some practical joke ability? I hope that remains after death. I always enjoy playing practical jokes.
Yeah, we have had some interesting stories told to us about some of them have a wonderful.
Yes.
Method of getting from here into there. You may email me at arbellaminesbury.com. That's ARGBELL, all lowercase, at mindspring.com. Or you can also email me, arbella@aol.com. 2 methods. You may also fast blast me, and that's available on the website, in the webcam somewhere or another. You hit fast blast, and you can type a question to me during the course of the show. It's a very interesting way to get immediate input from the audience. And here is one from Chris in Monticello, Iowa. And it is, hey, you two, have you ever encountered something that was truly dark, evil, and just plain bad all around?
I really cannot say that we have.
Yes.
We've been into locations where there's an oppressive, heavy feeling. I have never experienced anything that,
Is that description?
no.
What about you, Brennan?
I haven't, nothing to what he's asking about, as far as something that's so dark and oppressive. But I mean, I have witnessed things that bothered me. And like I mentioned before, the young boy that I saw run behind me in the mirror.
That could be one, but how about a spirit that screams at you, get out?
So we've had that.
I know you had that. I remember playing it, and so how can that not strike you that way?
I think it's more the fact that, and I think the voice you're thinking of that says get out was from a prison. And, you know, the people that are in prisons, especially that long ago, they weren't there for, you know, very good crimes. I mean, they did something to get in there, and they weren't the best people. So, I mean, you just kind of take that into account when you go into it, that these are the kind of people you're going to be dealing with.
So, then on the other side, we can expect all the very worst rapists and serial killers that we've executed on.
Well,
If they stay, yeah, I mean,
Well, unless they have a different destination.
well, that's true.
but you also have your nice sweet old ladies that bake cookies every day.
Well, there's a combination for you. All right, number 8, again, and finally, I believe from the mortician's home.
Yes, this one, was recorded by the funeral director.
Oh, he took to do it himself, huh?
Yes, he went and got his tape recorder. He was visually seeing a woman that we could not see. And he went and got his tape recorder and he asked, you'll hear him say, "What's your name?" And this voice was recorded. It sounds like it says Marty or Margie or Marty. It has that sound to it.
What prompted the mortician to ask the question?
Because he could see her and we could not.
Okay, here we go. It's a short one. I think that's a woman's voice again. I'd say Margie. I'd say that was a female.
That was Jenny and my first impression that it was Margie.
Yeah, Margie, and we were hearing a female voice. That's definitely what it sounded like. All right. Finally, we exit the funeral director's home.
Rollins to really try to take the time to go through their tour of the prison.
Well, by the way, why is there a radio on in the background? If someone has a radio on, please extinguish it post haste. I do hear something. Oh, no. Somebody in another room.
Turn that radio off. Turn it off, yeah. Go ahead, turn it off. Turn it off.
Can you hold it on back on? Yeah.
I can hear it, Art. I can hear it. I can hear it.
So we're going to Rollins prison, and what's the story here?
Well, the Rollins prison, I don't know if you remember this or not, but 2 years ago, actually, we did an investigation there, and we pretty much devoted an entire show with you on this prison.
I well recall, yes.
And so this is Rollins Revisited is what it is.
Rollins too, okay. So when did you go back, by the way?
This was September 18th, I believe was the day. September 18th of this year was when we went back.
Mm-hmm. And number 9 here?
Well, this one, what you're going to hear is, and this was recorded in the death house of the prison. And you're going to hear the prison director start talking about, and she says, and he and I were over there and we were complaining it was cold. And then she said something that you can't really make out. And then she finishes it off with, we got warm. And then here's a real interesting thing. You're going to hear a kid say he was a kid in the death house of this prison.
By the way, how did they, you say death house, how did they execute people when the prison was open?
Well, there were 2 ways. Originally, when the prison first opened, they did it by hanging. And then in, I believe, the 1950s, they installed a gas chamber. And they were executed by hydrocyanic gas. And that kind of leads me into this next thing is the only thing we can rationalize on why we would hear a kid in this death house is the last inmate she killed there was the man and he committed the worst crime in Wyoming history. He was found on top of 2 girls. He ate them. Is pretty much what had happened.
And did you say he had eaten them?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Tore their bodies
Apart with his teeth.
Oh my God.
So anyway, and he also had the fastest execution. He went straight in, and within, I think it was 2 months, they'd executed him. But they did gas him. He lasted longer in the gas chamber than anyone in that prison. He lasted 5 minutes. It took him 5 minutes to die. And the guards were afraid of him. In his cell, they would claim that there was this horrible stench that would come out of the cell. They would claim that they would hear children's voices coming out of the cell. When obviously
there was other voices also coming out of his cell that were not his voice.
exactly,
And he never slept.
this is the only reason we can really rationalize why you would hear a child's voice in this prison.
Okay, here we go. All right, now, once again, what you are supposedly hearing there, it's a little indistinct, is the prison bell right there.
Yeah.
He and I were over there, and we were complaining it was cold, and something you can't make out, and then supposedly we got warm, and he was.
Yeah.
Now, that's to even consider, even think that a child's voice would be present after an inmate of that sort was executed. Anybody want to explain to me what that?
Well, I know they did have a young prisoner there that was probably about 14 or 15 at one time. I'm sure they put this boy down younger than that.
Well, he claimed that he didn't remember doing it when he had done it. Well, maybe he was right. Well, and they tried it, and he said, no, I don't remember. But I believe I should not have worked.
The parents found him in the room in the hotel.
He really said that. I don't believe that. Maybe I should not. He said, I don't remember you. I don't remember much. I said something he said he should. Well, I've interviewed people like without exception, without question, that you are inhabited by Nobody, I mean, that's not what you were saying.
That's fun. There are different parts of the prison. We kind of scattered out. We use walkie-talkies to contact with one another. And Brendan had radio to me because we were in different parts of the prison. And eventually hear me respond back to him and say, Brendan. And then I may go back and tell me
Clear. Oh, no question about it. And a young woman's voice at that. Listen, this is a good one. This is a very good one. Well, that's no radio voice, that's for
There's
sure.
no radio voice. And there were women in this prison that were prisoners there.
And there were.
Yes. They were kept separate from the men. They were they were kind of attached to the area.
Well, you know what, maybe the bad ones are not out wandering around. I mean, what if you die in prison? Maybe the larger cosmos makes you.
Well, actually, they should have a series of forced repetition, and one workplace stays in prison and keep repeating that over and over and over again. And you're right. I mean, especially the people that go to prison, and some of the crimes that they committed, like that extra fix was, I mean, it's excellent to even think about it.
And yet there are priests who will go to that prison at the end, the very last moments of the prisoner's life, and tell him that if he converts or takes God on or Jesus at the very last minute, he will nevertheless be forgiven. It's part of our religion.
Right.
Now, what is Christian religion?
But after that, a really young woman think it's all right.
There we go. Attention to in this. It's my own little thing, but if you hear the acoustics, then whatever it is says it's all right. The acoustics would appear to match the acoustics that you're hearing with the more human voices. Now, that's really interesting. Listen carefully to the acoustics. Do you hear the acoustics in that your head? Well, maybe it's wonderful. I don't know, but it's as though to achieve. I'm trying to think about this. To achieve that, it would have to be allowed. However, we didn't hear it. However, maybe on the other side, the acoustics are the same because it virtually is the same on the other side, but just in a sort of on a different frequency or in a different
You know, it opens all kinds of questions to you, doesn't it?
dimension is what I was going to say, something, but the acoustics sound the same, don't they? I can see blue as you're in.
Yes, and she was.
She was. Number 12.
There was an area of the prison where they would bring the prisoners into the prison, where there was a whipping post, and they would tie the prisoners to this whipping post and whip them.
This is very interesting. It's a long time now we with people.
Well, it was not pure prison, it was built in 1910, and that was their custom of what they do there, because they were trying to fight, and the hole was still there. And you'll hear Brendan ask the prison director, so they could actually let people here, and the voice is recorded that says, yes, they were our prisoners. And then the, second director, you'll get a space, and one in the police officers needs to be able to.
So that would actually let people say.
Well, the way he said that as though he was the warden. Who else would say our prisoners? Well, maybe a guard.
So that would actually let people say.
So you see what I'm saying? That sounds as though it's coming from a figure of authority, our prisoners, as in the warden, or maybe even another guard.
And then with the guard, that was the time.
Well, this is pretty cool. The board operator at one of my affiliates in as a matter of fact, it's WCTC. Now, how's that for us? I call it as Coast to Coast. WCTC in New Brunswick, New Jersey. He's the acoustics. Remember I mentioned that? He's very close. The voice is audible. The voice could have been saying it's over as well. Thanks to this show, I'm actually starting to believe some of this stuff truly exists. And that's pretty interesting. Believes it truly exists. Well, I surely do too. How can you not? And that comes to you too. So let me ask you two. Do you believe this stuff really exists? What conclusions have you to I mean, listening and gathering and reading all this all the time? What do you believe?
I believe that some will bring effects on how you are after you die. And how you are before and how you are in the past. Not going to change after we pass on. And your garbage is going to stay with you. It won't leave.
And everything those who have to follow, those who are happy in life, and you are what you need like that.
I really don't think that I don't believe you're happy for very long.
Good point, but would you think that well, sense of humor doesn't get you to heaven. It's more than that. Let's just move on to the next one, I guess. You can speculate about this until the cows come home, and you almost can't help but do it. You almost can't help but do it, because you want to know about the other side. All right, we're still in the Rollins prison. That's where we're going to be for a while. And what have we come in here?
All right, well, this clip, this is pretty interesting, just the way this clip comes out in the context and in the voice and all of it just kind of works together. This clip, you're going to hear Barry, I, and the prison director. We were outside and she was taking us over to an area of the courtyard in the prison, and she was explaining that there used to be dungeons here. And you're going to hear her say, we know that there is a dungeon. Have you guys ever read the diary that we sell sweet smell of sagebrush? And then I respond, no. And then she continues saying, well, the sweet smell of sagebrush, brush is Stanley Hudson. He was here for, and then you're going to hear the beginning of this EVP, and you're going to hear it twice in the actual sentence that she's finishing.
What is the EVP?
I'm actually, on this one, I'm not going to tell you because you'll be able to hear it as soon as it comes in. But she finishes saying different times, and he talks about the dungeon, so we know there was a dungeon, and then I finish saying, and he was an inmate, and then she finishes yes.
So this is good. This is very good. So they're going to tell you this time, and that's a good experiment to do. It's much like the old reverse speech thing. A lot of people say, well, they're telling us what we're going to hear until we hear it. So, okay, here's an EVP where you're going to have to figure out which is the EVP, the electronic voice phenomena, yourself. That's not going to happen there. Wrong cut. So let's stop this and go to the real EVP. Otherwise, they're playing bongos over there on the other side. Okay, let me see. Well, when you're trying to do everything, occasionally it is actually this one. So here we go. No bongos here, but listen carefully. Well, that's a total duh. A total duh. Obviously, it's the horrible scream that goes on, right?
Yeah.
Horrible scream. Horrible. Now,
Being tormented or tortured.
exactly. Now, listen, I'm going to play it again, folks. And if that is not torture, forget torment. What you're hearing there is absolute torture. Listen to the quality of the scream. Listen very carefully.
We know that there's a dungeon. Have you guys ever read that diary without pre-conscious question? Well, pre-conscious question diary of them should I know that there was a
Oh, God, that's awful.
They're awful. I just think that.
That's part, I guess, of being in a prison, but that's, you're saying they put people on posts with them, right?
Yeah.
That's what that sounds like, isn't it?
Well, and that was just, that was a plain view of everybody else. The dungeon was hidden away underground, so I can only imagine what they actually do.
By a long shot, that's the worst one yet. I mean, that is the worst one yet. There is no question about the fact that that's torture.
We know that there's a dungeon. Have you guys ever read that diary without pre-conscious question? The pre-conscious question diary of them should
No question about that, guys. No question at all. Now, when you heard that, what do you surmise? Torture is going on internally? I think that's a yes, probably.
Well, we talked about that when I heard this, and I brought it up to Barbara or listened to it. She was extremely disturbed by it, as she just told you. And we started talking about why you would hear that, why you would hear this voice screaming.
Yeah.
And I told her that I thought it was, like I told you before,
And it's also really a possibility that if you
I think that's what's kind of worrying me about it is that we are talking about the dungeon and we are in the area that the dungeon was. And they've cemented dungeon in. The court's mentioned so that he can get to it now.
Well, I would like to plead for residual because that means that it's not eternal torture, but the fact that you get somebody that is responsive to things you say and in the current moment, you can't really believe that.
Well, in this instance, in this particular EVP, I would imagine that there was terrible torture that took place in this dungeon area. And usually, when it's a residual haunting from a very emotional event, like putting stuff into the atmosphere.
Okay, maybe the best we can hope for is that you're picking up. Because that's all we know, because on the other hand, you get let's see what we can get out well, clearly you can hear the word at the end, coward, and it sounds like a woman's voice. Do you all agree?
Yeah.
One more time, listen, and you can certainly hear coward at the end. Presented twice and clearly for your consideration. Again, in her voice, interesting thing, I noted a kind of emotional attitude in the way she said whatever it was she said. It ended with coward, but there was emotional inflection in what she said. Agreed?
Yeah. She does. I mean, it definitely seems like she keeps her personality. I mean, whatever it was aside, which, I mean, who knows what that is, but she definitely seems to portray that in the voice.
Are you two now positive what you're receiving on these tape recorders, on these digital recorders? What you're receiving is not self-weird. I don't know, a million things are suggested. It's a radio station, and you're catching some little bit of a broadcast somewhere, or else you're using tapes that really could be.
We picked up radio in some areas.
It happens, yes.
And you can definitely tell radio. There's no doubt about radio.
There's definitely quality between these voices and radio transmission.
Well, you're right. I could tell in a second if it was radio. As a matter of fact, I was listening to all this, I would have chimed up and I said, hey, that's a part of a broadcast or something. But oh, it does not sound like that at all.
And, this location, the prison, the seat, you know, the walls are so high, and when you do talk in there, it's echoey.
Because what I'm trying to do is cause my audience to ask themselves, what the hell else could this be? I mean, you listen to these, if it's not a broadcast and it's not some other weird phenomenon that I'm pretty far into electronics, I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue what should be putting these voices on there. Not a clue. And so you're led to the inevitable conclusion that somehow spirits are able to communicate over our modern electronic devices, or the devices hear them. Do you think these are projected voices that it's hard for these entities to make themselves heard, or do you think they just do it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely think it strains them to do this. And in a lot of the voices, you can almost hear that they're straining to get these sentences across. I mean, it's almost, you can almost compare it to running out of breath. I mean, and that doesn't make sense, obviously, with no lungs, but I mean, it seems like they're really trying to get these voices onto our tape.
Is it your impression, the two of you, that they can see you as clearly as each other? That they see you all of the time, but you don't see them all of the time? Is that your impression?
I believe that they know that we're there. I believe that they're aware of us.
Only in the same.
I don't know if they can.
Only in the way that you seem to know they are there, by some sort of intuition, only at that level, or do you think they can see?
Well, I can't always tell them they're there. I mean, there's extreme times when I'm physically aware that there is something there. We don't assume when we go into a location that, unless we have investigated it prior to you know, and know that there is something there, we do not assume when we go into a location that it has ghosts. Unless we get evidence that there is something at a place. But I do feel like they are aware of our presence.
More than you are theirs.
Yes.
You have to wonder if the world of the dead, such as it is, looks at the world of the living without difficulty or with some difficulty, or I don't know.
I think our physical beings, you know, our physical bodies limit us a great deal on what we're able to sense.
All right, let's squeeze one more in before the top beyond. Number 15.
All right, well, this clip, I recorded this, and this was also on the digital. I was walking down a corridor that led into the shower area of the prison, which was actually the most murders in the prison happened in this area. And that's where the showers were. Yeah. Well, here's the prison director asking me, well, what did you do with it? And she's referring to a CD that I had made for her with all these voices on it. And apparently she never got it, right? And you hear me say, I still got it. Keep backups of all of them. And then this man comes in and says, I have to go now. I'm dead.
What? Really? Okay, let's take a listen to that. Here we go. I have to go now. I'm dead. Thanks, you two. I have to go on. What we draw out of that one? Well, okay, let's see. What can it be? I have such a busy life now that I'm there. I gotta go. Sorry.
We need to realize it because we were talking about voices over there.
This is death, you know, things to do, places to go. Well, I have to go now. I'm dead. What the fuck? I don't get it. Why
I see there, why would you be hurried to go anywhere? Yeah, now there's somebody who you can't say doesn't know this. So in other words, I'm always trying to draw something from each of these, but I have an earlier argument, it's obviously yeah. Issue at any time I do a program of this sort, I get hundreds or even thousands of emails, and in this case, you might want to contact Brendan or Barbara, Brendan Cook or Barbara Beth directly, or the organization, the GIS directly, to find out more, maybe to find out how to do this yourself. If you're a doubter, then by all means, get the instructions, follow them, and go do this yourself. Can't tell you how many emails I've had from people I didn't think, oh my God, I tried this, and then they're emailing their EDPs to me, and I guess I want to give you two a chance. I know you've got a website, so tell us what it is, and then how we can get in contact with you. All right, the website is www.ghostpix.com. And if you go there, there's email addresses to sites, individual members, implication of pictures there, on those yeah, we have a PO box. So let's say PO box 383, Mason, Utah 84041-9383. It's PO box 383, Mason, Utah 84041-9383. Hi, you've got a website. I know something about websites and the internet, and I know that websites, particularly ones that dispense WAV files or whatever it is you dispense, use a lot of bandwidth. Who pays for all of that? We do. You do. We were just actually going over what this bill for this month is going to cost. Yeah, I bet. I bet it's not cheap, huh? How much? I'm curiosity. I just recently had one that was over $200 for the month. Okay, $200. Yeah. All right. So you all scratch this up and what, equally donate? Yeah. Between the five of you. So you see how they're supporting this, folks? They're not screeching for donations or anything else, and that's one of the things, of course, that adds to your credibility in all of this. You know, people just love poke holes in things. You know, if somebody's selling a book, well, you just go there and sell the book. Or if they're selling you big money for these. Well, you're not, though. That's a big problem for the doubters. Now, how hard is it for someone to do this themselves? It's not hard at all. And in fact, I'm glad you brought that up, because we have noticed actually now there's people out there who would like to charge you to find out how to do this. And you don't need that. I mean, there's no reason you have to pay somebody to do that. All you have to do is go to our website. We tell you on there what you need, how to do it. We even tell you, how to get it onto the computer, how to send it to us. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email us, and we'll be happy to answer you. For the people who think this is a relatively new phenomenon, it is far from that, right? I mean, doesn't this go back as far as...
The earliest one I've heard of trying to communicate with the dead, and he felt like he almost had a machine to be able to do that, was Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison. So just about as soon as we got voices, we began to get these voices, didn't we?
Yeah.
In other words, it's always been there, because that was the beginning of audio from elsewhere.
That's right.
What up, Bird 08?
Even before electronics came along,
What's going on back here?
tried to communicate by holding seances.
21.
Didn't Thomas Edison, and this is foggy, it may be foggy in my mind, but didn't he actually talk? I know people aren't going to believe this of Thomas Edison, but didn't he actually talk about hearing and talking to the dead?
Yes.
He did. Now, what possibly could have influenced a man of his stature, Thomas Edison, to think that he could talk to the dead?
Well, just simply that he believed it was possible. I mean, you brought up earlier about Stephen Hawking and
Yes.
believing that there's a shadow realm. And I mean, easily Stephen Hawking has to be one of the most intelligent men of our time.
Clearly.
And for him to believe that, I mean, people are so close-minded to some things that it's almost scary.
And, and we have a tendency not to accept what we don't understand, but as technology advances and science advances, we're able to get explanations of things that we used to think were impossible.
Indeed, so we have more to do, but I do want to take a couple of calls if you are coming in and disperse them a little bit now. First time call, I want to GIS. Hi.
Hi, Art.
Hello.
I must say that I've been thoroughly disturbed, fascinated by the show tonight. I think it's a great topic.
Yeah.
I hope we talk about something else tomorrow night because I'm a little freaked out.
I know I've had a lot of emails and a lot of pathways from people who are totally freaked out. Well,
Yeah, well, I work at Graveyard Security Shift, and I'm by myself in the dark for the vast majority of the time, so.
Yes, I've seen 1,000 security guys like you die horribly. Horribly.
Oh, well, thanks a lot.
So anyway, what's on your mind?
Well, first question twice tonight.
Say it like it could have been your last thought. The first clip.
Oh, the first clip, a young lady, she said, come enjoy the light. I consider myself a very spiritual person, very religious person, and to hear that, it kind of sounds like, I refer to truth as light, and to me that seems like it should have some religious connotation. Robert and Brennan, do you ever get clips of these voices or of that you may think have some religious, I guess, doctrine in it?
It's an obvious and very, very good question.
Well, a very good question. And it isn't something that I've really thought about with some of these voices.
Well, think about it in that context. Of all the ones that you've had, have any had religious connotations to them? Have any talked about Jesus, God, the church?
No, not to that effect. I mean, we have got clips like what he just mentioned that, you can think about them and wonder, could they be meaning this?
Before we lose another station, when you add Allah, Buddha, whatever.
Oh, yes.
No, I am.
What's up, Blood Tip 149?
So anything that would reflect any of that, but no, huh?
No, not to the point of actually naming, God's name.
Thank you, I'm dead.
It's more just like he said,
I'm dead.
Theoretical things that, yeah, it could be that that's what they're referring to, but maybe not.
We've recorded some that have referred to light before.
Yeah,
But that's the extent of it, really.
just light. All right, number 16.
All right, this one is really interesting. There's no interaction with this. You're going to hear Barry and Brendan walking up some metal stairs to the evidence room, which is usually locked and it's not open to the public.
Sure.
They keep evidence in this room from crimes that took place in the prison. And there was a horrific crime where a guard was set up and murdered by some prisoners. And they do know that it was a setup. And this voice that was recorded, it said, "How'd I get set up?"
How did I get set up? Oh, hey, listen.
That's pretty clear.
Oh, are you ever right about that one? Now, are you ever right about that one? And it's in that context too, and that,
Coleman
in the way
WT
you would
puts
say
on.
if you had been set up.
Yeah, that sounds pretty clear. That's set up.
Hey, you two, how many of them come like that, without any question, without anything, they just appear out of context with anything else?
There are quite a few that do come like that. Like that when we're just walking up the stairs or nothing's being said, or even a lot of times things are being said but not referring to a ghost, just talking amongst ourselves.
Percentage wise, how many are just unrelated to anything, just boom, out of the blue like that? 10, 20, 50, 40%. 40% come out of nowhere. And 60% somehow relate to something you said or requested or, some interaction.
Some of them, we can't make sense of what it's even referring to.
Gotcha. Wildcard line, you're on the air with GIS. Hi there.
Hi there, Renee.
Yes, you.
Okay, yeah, mine's referring to the first sample with a little girl again.
Well, that's that one again.
Yes, and could she be saying, come and join the light? Actually,
Yeah,
she said that because originally when we first heard it, I did think that that's what it said. Just listening to it over and over again after that, I heard more, come enjoy the light.
Well, hold on a second. You two, hold on a second. Here it is. I can't resist. Number one again.
Can you talk to us if you hear?
Hi, there is something over there.
He's right. He's right. It could be saying that.
What? Yeah, that be in reference to coming over to her side.
Right.
So, well, thank you, Father.
Before you go, sir, I have a question. Hearing all of this, what is it? When you listen to this, what is it doing? Right? Are you saying? Can you even find a way to say, "Oh, what a crock," or this baloney, or anything else? Or what? How do you interpret this?
It's kind of frightful in a way, and for me, it's kind of reaffirming that there is another side, where the fact that everything that everyone has said, the frequency of their words are just randomly floating around in the cosmos. And sometimes you're picking up things that you're referring to, and like they said, words just pop out. And it's so mind-boggling that it is frightful.
Does it sound to you like it's coming from anywhere other than what we'll just sort of generically refer to as the other side?
Well, yeah, it does. In fact, there's a cemetery not far from me, and I'm thinking about getting trying this myself.
No, but again, is there any way you don't think it comes from the other side? That this is some kind of quirk, like a radio station or anything like that? It doesn't sound like
No, not at all. I do think that there's a lot more to what's going on. I do think it's coming from somewhere.
So do I. Thank you very much. All right, number, what is it, 17?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. In this clip, Barbara and Jenny were actually walking into the room that has the whipping post. And you'll hear Barbara saying hello, and then the door to that room starts opening. You'll hear that.
You mean the door starts opening by itself?
No. Barbara was opening the door to get into this room.
Okay.
And then you'll hear Barbara say to Jenny, "Here, I can hold this." And then you'll hear, I can't tell if this is a younger child or an older woman. It's one of the two.
Yes.
And she says what sounds like I'm brain dead.
But she kind of was giggling at the time she said it.
Oh, really? This I've got to hear. Now, see, I disagree on this one. You know, I'll tell you what I think it says. So you can listen to it. Okay? Instead of I'm brain dead, listen this time for my dad's dead. All right? Yeah. Tell me if you hear my dad's dead. Well, actually, that's hard for me to hear. I don't hear that. We were definitely dealing with the phenomena here that we all draw something out of it. I'm not arguing with the phenomena itself, not for 1 second, but that we all really do hear something different. And the fact that you suggested was what we might hear. I wonder when I just suggested my dad's dead, I wonder how many people heard it as my dad's dead after I said that.
Well, I know, one of the GIS members agreed because I heard him say yes in the other room. So,
Really? So, you know, there you are. On the one hand, I think the phenomena is solid. The science you're doing, I believe, is solid. And yes, I think we're hearing from the other side. But yes, we're going to have disagreements, just like in reverse speech, about what's being said, just because it's indistinct to some degree.
the three, they just, one of them just brought, the three of them here, my dad's dead.
Okay. Just for the heck of it. All right. Number 18.
All right, you're going to hear Barry, Brendan and Barry were in the death house, and they were at the gas chamber.
Yeah, I'm break on the beat.
One of them was sitting in the chair in the gas chamber, and you're going to hear Barry say, "Oh, I've got the flash turned off," referring to his camera.
Right.
And the EVP was recorded. It said, "Get you out of the chair."
Oh, all right. In the death chamber, sitting in the chair, something I probably would not choose to do. Here we go. Oh, that's pretty good. Get you out of the chair. It's said in a way, if that's what it's saying, that is an older way of phrasing things. Get you out of the chair. That's what it's saying, all right. Get you out of the chair.
And we do things sometimes to entice or provoke a voice.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
And you're never worried about repercussions beyond getting an EVP?
No.
I would be. I mean, you're not worried about something. I mean, you just finished telling me a story about a mortician where something attached itself to him. Now, you just know that could happen to you in these places you're going.
Oh, yes, and we believe that happened on occasion, but
Really?
um,
And you don't think of that as a risk of doing what you're doing?
you know, because having those around
Very, very far up in the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, very close to several popes, was an incredible, incredible man. And somebody sent me an interesting email earlier in the day today and said, "Hey, is there anybody yet who has followed on where Father Malachi Martin left off?" And the answer to that is no, not yet. I'm always on the lookout for somebody like Father Martin, but he was one person that is not going to, you really don't want to say that he's irreplaceable, but he really is irreplaceable.
What up?
He was the
How
exorcist.
you doing, man?
He was the real McCoy. Father Martin was the real McCoy. I really was honored to interview him several times. Well, they're doing a pretty cool thing. If you, let's see, what's the deal? If you subscribe to the After Dark newsletter that we've got, you get 12 monthly issues, which you would expect when you subscribe, right? And probably some little bonus or something. The bonus, though, in this case is it's a CD of one of my very early interviews with the Catholic priest, Father Malachi Martin. I'll give you the number for After Dark. It's 1-888-727-5505. And I'm telling you right now that this interview is something historical that you should have. And there's so much important information in it, which is obviously dead on the money. He deals with what my current guests are saying they've not encountered, and that is true evil. And I mean true, really true evil. And yes, there is true evil. So when you subscribe or re-up, I guess, I don't know, you get this CD. That's one to keep and pass on to your youngsters. The number is 1-888-727-5505. 1-888-727-5505. In a moment, we return to the voices, I guess, will be easier and say from the other side. By the way, I would really appreciate it if some of you out there would take the time to go to the website, and when you get there, you sit down with an open mind, a really open mind, at a quiet moment, and click on the power of 10. The power of 10 is a trip across the cosmos from 10 million light years out down to the size of a quark. And it is so compelling, so incredible, that I would hope a few of you, after watching it, hopefully in that frame of mind, will take a moment out and email me your thoughts. I would really enjoy that. So I'm Art Bell at mindspring.com. ARTBELL, mindspring.com. That also goes, by the way, for those who have guest suggestions, or anything else that you'd like to relate to me, Marcel at mindspring.com. That said, back to the phones and my guests, you two. We've got two more of these to dispense with before the top of the hour, so let's rock. Number 19.
Well, this next one, I was in the courtyard with the prison director, and she was explaining to me about the bodies that they had at the prison. Some people would die, that their families wouldn't claim them. She says, we also know that they were shipping bodies off to medical schools to use as cadavers. Right. And after she said that, you hear a man say, yeah, we're warm.
Okay, here we go.
We also know that they were shipping bodies off to medical schools to use as cadavers.
Brother, that's in warm body. That's what I think that. Yeah. Warm. Good material. One more time, folks.
We also know that they were shipping bodies off to medical schools to use as cadavers.
Madonna.
Gallows humor?
Yeah, kind of, isn't it?
Kind of. Kind of. They have gallows there. You said at one point, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. East of the Rockies, you're on here with GIS. Good morning.
Morning.
Hi. Where are you, sir?
In Minneapolis.
All right. What's up?
Not much, it's an honor to meet you.
And to meet you, sir.
I have a question for your guest, and it's about the recording of the ghost. I was wondering if, you're hearing these voices saying stuff. I was wondering if you can actually hear what's going on in real life, or this is just on the recording. And that's a good question. It's something that we should have brought up earlier. The majority of the time, no, we don't. We don't hear these when they're recorded. Every once in a while we do, but it's extremely rare to actually do it.
It's happened though, right?
Yeah, it has. It's happened a few times.
Can you remember a circumstance when it occurred? And what was happening? I mean, what do you think you heard?
Yes, I just stepped out of a mausoleum one night, and a couple of us were taking a smoke break, and I heard Paul's voice, and I said, "Did you hear that?" And nobody heard it, but I recorded a child's voice when we read tape. It had a child's voice. Asked, and got some candy.
A child voice shouldn't be in a prison under, you would think, any circumstances other than a very young prisoner. I was about to ask how secure you keep your locations. In other words, obviously, one remote possibility could be that these voices are of GIS members. Although after hearing the children, I've got to toss that one out. But I mean, it's one of the things, the environment. How pristine do you maintain the environment when you're doing these recordings?
Well, a lot of the times we try, for one, we try to keep our talking, down to a minimum.
Of course,
we try, just to interact with them and also to interact with each other, and one person talk at a time. With us only being 5 of us, it's extremely easy to distinguish between each other's voices.
How many times have you ever talked over an EVP by mistake?
It happens quite a lot, and it's quite irritating when it happens.
And so you've got the rule, just don't talk too much, minimum of communication on the spot.
Right.
That makes sense. Western Rockies, you're on the air with the GIS group. Hi. Hello? Yes, hello.
Hi, I was calling about how they said they can't record any, they don't even record happy voices or children or anything like that.
They have children, but not generally happy ones.
But one of the ways to do that is to go to playgrounds, schools, dance halls, old speakeasies, and if you don't record anything right away, it's to create a happiness, like music, where, you got to sing and do anything, and it kind of draws them out.
We've done that.
You've done it?
Oh, yeah.
With what kind of results?
Well, pretty much the same results we've always got. In fact, there's one time I can remember in an old hotel that used to have big balls in the 30s. And we actually brought some old 30s music and started playing it in the ballroom.
I invited.
Set and setting, huh? Set and setting, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and so did you get happy spirits?
They didn't sound happy to.
See, here we go.
We have recorded children laughing and
Playful. I can recall playful children.
yes. I mean, we've recorded that, but it's just not normally the way they sound. I mean, the voices that we record
Yes.
do not sound happy. Even if when we're laughing and talking amongst ourselves and we record a voice, very seldom are they laughing along with us.
All right. Gotta take it the way it comes. Number 20.
On this one, you're going to hear Barry's camera makes a beep, and Barry says, "Okay, wonder what the flash is going to do." They were up in the gas chamber, and he was setting up his camera, and this voice says, "In a little bit." It's like the guy was boogieing it out, and then while the camera was
Well, maybe. Let's listen. Oh, sorry. Let me put my own spin on this one. To me, it sounds like the spirit is being flippant, and the spirit is suggesting to one or both Brendan and Barbara that soon you'll be over here on this side, as in, see you in a little bit. That's the way it comes across me now, listening to it.
That's pretty clear. See you a little bit. That's clear. See you a little bit.
There's a tone to that voice. There's an inflection there that sounds like it's talking to one or both of you, and he's expecting you soon.
That's very possible, you know.
All right. First time going on, you're on the air with the GIS group. Good morning. Hello. Hello. West Virginia. West Virginia, yes, sir.
Yeah, often from action areas, if there's anything that they can do to like convert experience or keep focused around it.
Very good question. So you two, a little moment ago, you said you played his 40s music in a ballroom, and that got you pretty social.
That's really, I mean, as far as that goes, that's not all you can do. I mean, we don't hold seances or anything like that. We just invite them to talk to us. And as Barbara mentioned before, we do things to kind of entice them. Like she mentioned, you know, me sitting in the gas chamber might draw them out and go, hey, that's not right.
Well, yeah, we always invite them to join in our conversation during the investigation. We welcome them to come be with us and talk to us.
And then, if memory serves, you also suggest upon your leaving that they don't follow you.
Yes, we ask them to get out of the car if they're in the car with us, because we know they get in the car because we recorded them. So, you know, we ask them to stay where they're at or to move on and follow us home.
That's right. Great big one. Barbara and I are on the air with the GIS group. Good morning. Good morning. I'm calling from Hudson, Idaho. Yes, sir. Listening to you on 640 KFI in LA. Oh, I got no kidding. KFI, last thing up there. I'm optimistic. I'm trying to say a little one. I'm telling you, I'm screaming. Okay, yes, sir. My comment is, when the lady was asking the little boy, or when she asked herself, and the little boy came back and said, I'm 3, I heard her say, I'm 8. Really? Yeah, that's it. Instead of 3, I rather thought the 3 was quite clear. But you heard teeth, huh? Several times. All right, well, let's settle this. All right, let's settle this. Let's see then. What number was that?
I believe that was 2, yeah, that was number 2.
And a little child says, I'm 3. He said it before Brendan even asks how old he is, right? Number 2. Okay, I can do that. Here we are.
Hey, tell me who you are. My name is Barbara, and this is Brendan.
How old are you?
No, she said on 3. There's no doubt about that one. That's quite clear. At least as far as I'm concerned,
I agree with it. That's clear.
differently, but that's what I got. All right, again, you would encourage people to do this themselves, right?
Yeah,
Well, they can, and they don't have to do it in the dark or in the middle of a cemetery at midnight. We have recorded hundreds of EVP in broad daylight. The only reason we go out at nighttime is because the noise is more quiet at that time.
Well, you keep saying that people don't have to go to these places, but that's where you go. I mean,
So I'm just saying they don't have to go out at nighttime. They can get them in the day.
yes. So is it more important to be is it virtually just a place where many have died? Is that the key? What are we talking about here? Is a good place to be where many have?
Well, they could go to any kind of location that has reported haunting.
Or is it where many have died violently?
I don't know if it's so much that they've died violently.
Unexpectedly.
Yeah.
I guess nobody really.
Yeah, we'll see, it's all varied, but, I mean, a place like the prison, if what causes you to stay behind as it goes is mental anguish and some unfinished business in life, I mean, what better place than a prison? I mean, I don't want to use the word better, but, I mean, a prison would be